Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I have a very special treat for you today. Today we are celebrating the 35th anniversary of Final Fantasy, and I'm sure many people on many channels, many news blogs, vlogs, whatever you want to call them, will be talking about the series that's gone by, but I thought today might be very special to talk about what's coming up. I'm absolutely delighted today to be joined by Ben Starr, who is voicing Clive in Final Fantasy XVI. Hello, Ben.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for coming. I'm absolutely delighted to be able to talk with you. And I am going to, touch on a little moment that we've already had a few days ago, which by the way, I was incredibly touched. When I reached out to you and said, my name is Alex, I do KupoCon, and for you to turn around and say, I already know what KupoCon is, I was delighted, that you, and I'm sure from a shadowy corner, you've been watching the community and you've been watching what's happening in the Final Fantasy, sphere. So thank you for that. That certainly brought a smile to my face that morning.
You're very welcome. This is a very surreal experience for me because I'm a lifelong Final Fantasy fan. So I basically just use the internet to consume Final Fantasy content for years. And the fact that I'm involved in this way is very, very, very surreal. So the fact that you got in contact with me, I've had so many other incredible content creators come and reach out to me, and I feel like a competition winner. And it's very, very strange. I've been secretly making this game and watching people's reactions to trailers, and being like, wow, this is so cool. And there's been this sense of detachment because it hasn't really felt real because I haven't been able to talk about it. Now that I can, it's great that I get to kind of, get in touch with you.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, look, before we talk about, 16, and I will say, obviously, if you're watching this video and you're thinking, oh my God, there's going to be so many spoilers. We're not talking about the content of the game in any form. I wouldn't want to get Ben in trouble, and I also wouldn't want to get shot. So we're gonna very much skirt around a lot of things. But, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I am 34 years old.
Okay, we're the same age. So there you go. So we probably grew up on similar games. You said that you're a bit of a gamer. Apart from the Final Fantasy series, what kind of games tickle your fancy?
My first major console was PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
And I would say I love narrative games, hence why I'm drawn to Final Fantasy. So I love me a third person narrative game that tells a story that I can get lost in. I mean, I'll also play puzzle games, one of my favorite games of all time is The Witness. I don't know if you've ever played The Witness.
Is that one of those click games where you click on puzzles and stuff?
It's Jonathan Blow's follow-up to Braid, and it is a puzzle game that screws with your mind so badly.
I can see the cover in my head. I think the cover's quite white. I think
it's on the island. It's got mist vibes to it. So I will play anything that's fun, and but I really love my heart is with big long stories.
So you're more of an RPG guy, kind of thing. You like your JRPGs.
I mean, stuff. Who hasn't put hundreds of hours into Skyrim, and who hasn't put hundreds of hours into World
actually.
Haven't you?
No, I have I don't know if you've ever played with a Steam Deck before. But I
would love to play with
They are phenomenal. I will sing the praises of a Steam Deck any day of the week. But I actually just started playing the anniversary edition on my Steam Deck for the first time.
So you're the person who actually plays these ones. We go, who hasn't played Skyrim?
It's funny. It's funny. I spend my life, working in not all video games, but a lot. I mean, I work in conventions. But there's many a game that people go, oh yeah, everyone's played that. And I'm like, I haven't played that.
Yeah. We all have that, though. There's our pile of shame there. There's games that I feel like I should have done.
So have you always been a Sony boy with PlayStation? You never a Nintendo Game Boys or anything like that?
I was my Game Boy was the first thing I ever got. And I had this black travel case with all of my games and my cartridges in that I would take on holiday with me, and there's me playing Super Mario, or I think the first games I got were Kirby's Pinball was the first game I ever got. So absolute banger.
Mine would have been Pokemon Blue on one of those. I don't know what they're called, but the transparent pink ones. I forget what the specific name is for that one. But
there was this period of time at school where everyone had Pokemon, and it was that frenzy. I had red. I was a red guy, and I remember the first kid from school who brought in, was it gold or was it yellow? That was
It was
one that
yellow
came
was
after
next.
yellow.
Yeah.
Brought in yellow, and that was the coolest kid in school for like 3 days. They were the main character of school for that day when they brought it in.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know that you didn't grow up in London. You grew up near Bristol, right? So, I mean, we really weren't that far away from each other at all. I mean, I grew up in Glastonbury and Street, so we were. What a funny world
we just loved the M5.
Yeah,
That's a nice reference.
Nobody loves the M5. So I mean, so you grew up on video games. So I mean, this must be. I mean, we're going to get to 16. Obviously, it's a huge honor. But you said you're a fan of the series, which I think is really great especially for you, because you have a huge role here. Like you're the main character of a Final Fantasy game. But when we talk about the series in general, what is your experience with Final Fantasy?
The first Final Fantasy I ever played was Final Fantasy VIII. And so when people ask me what my favorite is, it's probably that, because I think a lot of people around our age, we were very lucky to kind of get into Final Fantasy, what people call the golden age of Final Fantasy. And whether that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
It's 7, 8, 9.
I know, but you can't discount 6. But that jump into 3D, my first jump into that was Final Fantasy VIII, and I'd never played anything like it.
No,
at all. I didn't really understand what was happening to me. It was this kind of transformative experience. First of all, it came in a different box to all the other things. It had multiple discs. I didn't even know what I was playing for a while. I remember I kept replaying up to the cave at the beginning. I kept dying. I didn't really know what it was.
To go in for the Ifrit battle.
To fight.
Which is kind of convenient for you. God, isn't that weird?
I won't tell anything about the game. Don't try and trick me.
That wasn't a trick. We know Ifrit's in it. Like it's been living in my head. I don't know if you've seen the PlayStation ad that's just constantly playing everywhere right now. But it's just it's a line from you saying, "Come to me, Ifrit," and it just flames, and then you just see Ifrit's face.
Yes, I do remember recording that.
They must be running some heavy campaigns right now, because that's what I see every time I load my Facebook. So
yeah. It's I was so glad they used that line in the trailer. It's a really cool. It's a cool line that I like. I like saying.
That's really cool that like some of your earliest memories of Final Fantasy is that particular, in this case GF. GF. And that's super cool.
I mean, here's a probably a boring fact, but I think it's quite fun. Because I didn't really understand what Final Fantasy was at the time, and what got me into it was the fact that I could name the GFs, and so I started naming all the GFs after Pokemon, because that was the game I played. So I named in Final Fantasy VIII, I pretty much named all of the GFs after Pokemon. I think Ifrit was called Charizard. This is my 10-year-old self thinking.
The days when you could rename. I think I would always rename the main character, but that was it.
This is the surreal thing with where we're at now and why I'm here. I used to name all of the main characters after me.
Yeah, I would do the same.
And the fact that I'm now playing the main character, I find to be just a lovely circle.
Yeah. Lovely. I'd use a stronger word than that, but this is an all ages video. But yes, no, I mean, so 8 was your first introduction to that.
Yeah.
And then did you continue with the series? Did you carry on playing after that?
Then I was hooked, and so I actually went 8, 9, 7, 6, 10, 12, all the 13s, 14 up to the end of A Realm Reborn.
Okay.
I haven't played Heavensward.
Oh, you should. I think A Realm Reborn, it was too long actually, but they've stripped it down quite a bit now, and there was one too many fetch quests, but the voice acting changes after that. And I think that the new 14 cast, not that there was anything wrong with the original, but the new 14 casts are spectacular. And
I loved it. And obviously, like, I've spent, so much time with Koji, who's worked on 14 the entire time we've been making this. They've been talking, singing the praises of 14, and I work with the team. And I think it'd be quite a nice thing after 16 comes out to
I think you
jump
have
back
to.
into Heavensward,
Yeah.
If we can recreate Clive in the game.
Did you play 15?
I did play 15 the day it came out.
Oh yeah.
All of these games, I play them. They're day one purchases for me.
Gotcha.
The night before 15 came out, I watched the Brotherhood YouTube
Yes.
series that you could watch, and then I got the deluxe edition that came with Kingsglaive. So when it came, I put 15 in, uploading it to the PlayStation, and then I watched Kingsglaive whilst it loaded up, got myself ready, and then jumped in and played it for, I think, maybe like 6 hours straight. With games like that, I just say to my friends, I'm so sorry, I'm going to play video games now. And I kind of just say, that's what I'm going to do. Because
I think that's what's so special about games like Final Fantasy. There are not many games where, well, me personally anyway, my life is very busy. I have 2 children. And I find it hard to, even just in life, I find it hard to sit and play for long hours. But a game where I can sit and I'll look at the clock and go, oh shit, 6 hours have gone by. It's a good game. And there are very few games that I can do that with. Final Fantasy is one of them. So
I lost myself. I lose myself in those games.
Yeah.
And I think that I have fond memories of all of them, faults and all. I love these games with a passion. I just love the stories. I love the characters. And I was thrilled to get in 16, but I was kind of annoyed because I found out what happened. So I just kind of lost out on that sense of wonder.
I think that still, even though you obviously, know what will come to be, I'd change that. I'd give that up any day to be the main voice in a Final Fantasy series. So I don't feel bad for you. I will say that. Okay. You will get no pity from me. But so you're a fan of the series, which is fantastic. Tell me, do you have a favorite?
Yes, it's 8.
Oh, you said 8. Yeah, you said because it was your first. Of course.
But I think it's such an interesting question, and I've been pondering this for a while of like favorite games, favorite moments, favorite things. I think that when we're talking about what our favorites are, we're really talking about what our relationship was with a particular game at a particular point. I agree. And it's the that visceral feedback that you get from whatever game that you play. I could play, a fantastic game. I mean, I just very luckily got the platinum on God of War Ragnarok, let's say.
Right.
And what an amazing achievement that game is. But at the same time, I have played other games that have resonated with me personally and will for a longer periods of time because of the period of time in which I was playing them. And I think when it comes to Final Fantasy, that, by the way, I'm not disparaging God of War Ragnarok. That is an incredible game. But Final Fantasy VIII, I understand the faults of that game. The junctioning system people do not get on with. But that changed the way that I looked not only at video games, but just looked at media in general, storytelling. I remember I was on holiday after I played, I think I was up to like disc 3. I think I was about to go down into the underwater research facility to get Eden and fight Ultima Weapon.
Right.
And I sat, I think, for about 45 minutes as this like 10-year-old Ben in a Greek taverna with my dad, telling him the entire story of Final Fantasy VIII. And that man, the patience of a saint, 10-year-old kid just being like, I'm going to tell you beat for beat everything that has happened in this game up to that point, because it meant so much to me. Yeah. And
did you buy the game for yourself, or did somebody buy it for you?
No, he bought it for me because I'd really liked the look of it. I don't really know why I got it. I think I'd seen
it. Would have been a bestseller, I'm sure. I'm sure it would have been. I mean, I know I personally bought my copy from, it doesn't exist anymore, but I bought it from Woolworths. Go and get my pick and mix. And then there it was on the shelf. And I remember I bought the platinum copy, I think it was, because I didn't have money for the black label version. I was like 11 or 12.
But I was really annoyed when I had this. I've still got them, like the old games, and I've got my beautiful, like pristine copy of 9 because that day one. And then I had my lovely copy of 8, and I've only got the platinum version of Final Fantasy VII because I played it later, and you could only get the platinum version. And I was like,
good old eBay. That's where I went.
Yeah.
I felt so bad that I'd like lost a lot of my stuff as a kid. I just eBayed everything. I mean, the bank didn't thank me for it, but I feel better now.
I still have all of my old memory cards with my save files on.
Yeah.
Because they mean that much to me. Like I still have them. I think they've, when I've moved various times in my life, but I will always make sure I know where my memory cards are. Have my old,
just in case you want to go back to it,
Oh yeah, just in case I want to go back to Ultimisi's castle, and
But I totally agree with what you're saying. I think it has to resonate with you in the time when you're playing it and what's happening in your own life, because eight's my favorite. So,
Yeah.
but from a technical and story perspective, 8 is actually weaker, I think, than say 7 or 6.
Yeah.
But it was the right time in my life. It was my experience. So that, to me, I think on every level, just it becomes your favorite, right?
Yeah, but it's funny, isn't it? Because when you say what's your favorite, it's not you don't want to diminish the incredible impact these other games have. It's not just one game. We're celebrating, and it's 35 years. We're celebrating a series here.
Yeah,
and there are just these incredible moments. I mean, I remember in 10, that is it the Macalania Woods?
yeah, where they have their little kiss.
That I couldn't believe. I mean, hopeless romantic. I thought that was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. And my really, really great friend Nick Turner, who we shared these moments. He was the one person at school who we would always talk about stuff. We watched that. I played that section first, and then I went round to his house when I knew that was going to happen again, so I could watch him play it, because I just thought it was absolutely incredible. Because the graphical fidelity was amazing, and the romance and the
well, I was talking to the voice actors about this. I was talking to Hedy Barres during the pandemic. We did something similar to this, and Hedy came on. I've said this story a billion times, but she was having technical difficulties. I couldn't see her camera, but I could hear her voice, and my entire childhood just rushed through my body, because all I could hear was Yuna's voice asking me why her Dell webcam's not working. And it was just the most weirdest experience. And we were talking about that scene, and I was saying, do you realize how many kids probably were hitting sexual maturity and seeing this romantic scene for the first time and really understanding what true love really is? And then she was like, huh. And I was like, it's quite, these games have a massive monumental impact on those that play it,
Especially, I mean, the emotional punch of 10. I still maybe like a year ago, I rewatched a streamer play it and react to the end.
Right.
And I think I was maybe in like an emotionally, weakened moment, and I just burst out crying when you see those final moments.
The games do have that impact. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, we've talked about the series. I would like to talk a little bit, obviously, of course, about 16. Again, a massive congratulations. Like, thanks. Wow, what a role to land.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about, the recordings or the game too in particular, but I do want to talk about the reveal. And kind of the reaction. Now, I'm sure you've been working on this for some time, and I'm sure it's been a very, exciting to work with. As you mentioned, Koji, you've worked with a lot of incredible people, I wish we could talk about stuff, but obviously we can't. But I would like to talk about the reveal. So the Game Awards were coming. Did you know that the trailer was dropping in the Game Award? I think everybody knew, the way they'd been advertising it. But did you know that the date drop was coming during the Game Awards?
Square are very, very good at keeping me in the loop for some things,
right,
and keeping me out of the loop for plausible deniability.
Okay.
And I love Koji for that. He's fantastic at just going, just so you know, this thing might happen,
right?
And so I was aware of. I was aware that the Game Awards was happening. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. They've been pushing it quite heavily, and I was in this very room. We were watching on that TV, and God, the Game Awards just went on, and I was like, just show the damn trailer, and it finally came right at the end there. Were you watching? I assume you were watching live.
Oh yeah, I was. It was what was it? 4:30 in the UK. Yes,
it would have been 4:30. Yeah.
So I'd gone out with friends earlier in the night. I drank a lot of margaritas.
Right.
And then at midnight, I was like, I'm going to watch the Game Awards. I'm just going to do it. So I had a coffee and I stayed up and watched the whole thing. And I was fizzing. I was so nervous about it. Because there's that anticipation. I kind of knew what was going to be in there. I was excited for everyone to see it. And I'm one of these people. I watch everyone's reactions to this stuff. So if you've done a reaction on the internet, I've probably
seen
watched
it. That must have been a long 2.5 hours for you sat there waiting for that trailer.
I mean, fortunately, I'm as a big fan of video games. I was able to get excited about all the other announcements as well. So I was going,
there were some good games that popped up during that.
I was thrilled that they had all that stuff, but I was very, very nervous, and I think there is maybe a tendency, if you've got 2.5 hours, there's potential for trailer exhaustion, and I was worried that some people, and maybe that was the case, where you felt like you've just seen however many trailers. This is just another trailer that they all blend in. I really liked. I think it shows the respect that and the wonderful power that Yoshi P has. That he can get up and command. Well,
kudos to him. I think he was, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was the only Japanese speaker who didn't have a translator. So good for him, because I know that his English is thin. Like usually during when he does the cast for 14, he obviously would have a translator with him because there's a lot of content. But good for him. I thought and as soon as he stepped on the stage, you could feel the power. The music, the prelude came on, the 16 prelude, and you're just like, holy shit, here we go. So I can't imagine how you were feeling right then.
I was really nervous. I was so nervous. And I don't think I really took any of it in when it happened. Somebody should have webcammed you for the reaction. That's the reaction we wanted to see. My reaction would have been this. And nothing would have happened. It would have been the most boring thing ever. But
the trailer came out. I mean, it blew up across the internet. And then I think it was the morning after the PlayStation blog dropped quite a lengthy blog post. And it had the announcement of the voice actors for the English cast. Now, did you know that was coming?
I did know that they were going to announce it around the time of the Game Awards. Right. I didn't know when. Okay. When or how, yeah. And I actually got a DM from David Menken, who plays Barnabas, who just said, just got sent this by a friend. And then I obviously did a tweet about it and just, prepared some things to say, because I know how important this is for people, and they want to know that. I wanted people to know the how much it matters to me, and how much this role matters to me. And I understand that the next mainline Final Fantasy game is important, and the legacy that has come before, the legacy of the crystals, is important. And every day that I've gone into work has been a pinch me moment.
But I understand.
Yeah, but I understand how important these moments are. I can go into a session, even if I'm not feeling great, when I go in, this is immortal. This lives forever. And that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, but, I mean, just look at a game like 6 or 7 that's still being massively consumed,
and rightly so, because
absolutely.
They're amazing. They're amazing games.
Yeah.
And to be able, I think it's what I found quite strange is there's that is the Dissidia picture of all the protagonists in a circle, and the fact that at some point in the future, Clive is going to be added to that pantheon of people. I'm not saying that Clive's going to be in Dissidia, but that thing where that's the legacy, and this is the next person in that.
Yeah. And it's not, for a long time Final Fantasy fan, it's huge. 16 is huge. But there's also that audience of people who've never played Final Fantasy. So I've been doing KupoCon for, I think 6 years now. And 15 was launching around the same time that we started doing our events. So a lot of the fans that were coming to these events, their first introduction to the series, was 15. But there's going to be a lot of young people who are maybe, 17, 18, depending on, I guess, what the age rating is confirmed as. But there'll be the mature kids getting to play maybe Final Fantasy for the first time. And they're going to, this is going to be what 8 was for us, That's intense. That's also a lot of pressure, and I can't, and I'm certainly not trying to stress you out, but I remember when I was talking to the cast of the remake, and I'd be saying, I was talking to Cody, who voices Cloud, and I was like, you must feel the pressure to be voicing such an iconic character. Now, in his case, there is a legacy.
Yes.
With this is brand new. This is fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find it intimidating?
Very intimidating, but I think you're right to push on that. I do not envy the remake cast at all, because
that is a big pressure.
That's a huge amount of pressure,
yeah.
And I think they've done an incredible job.
I
absolutely adore that remake. I am so excited for Rebirth. I have got Crisis Core on my PlayStation 5 upstairs to play.
It's good. It's worth playing.
Yeah,
it's been my nightly thing. It's the only game that's actually taken my fancy recently. I played about 7 or 8 hours of it so far. I'm quite enjoying it.
I think the pressure that they must have been under is huge, and I think they've just done a magnificent job, because in that age that we were playing, we invented the voices in our heads of how characters sounded. And obviously we have afterwards, there's Advent Children, and there are other people that have taken on the mantle of voicing these characters, but there's such a huge pressure. And for me, I thought to myself when recording, this is a lot, but just make him human. Just make him human. And hopefully people will be able to jump on board with the character and go on this journey, and build something together. It's this idea of like, people don't know this character, so let's introduce him, and let's introduce this incredible world that they've created and these other incredible characters. This is such a rich world. Every day I would go in and be like, wow, the lore is on point.
Well, the team from 14, Yoshi P, everybody that works on 14 are well known for making rich storytelling games. So the excitement from the community when they found out that they were working on 16 was huge. Let's talk about the reaction from fans. So as you said, it was a co-voice actor who had sent that to you, and then the internet exploded. What has it been like for you for the last, I guess, almost a week now? Well, a week actually. Yes, it would be a week.
Everyone's been so nice. Everyone's lovely. I think because there is an excitement around this game. And
a little bit, yeah.
There is an excitement around this game, and I can't thank everyone enough. All the people who've reached out, and I've had people reach out who I'm huge fans of, like yourself. Like, there are just so many people who have been so generous to just say something. And
I saw some of the voice actors reach out to you. I saw Brianna reached out to you to congratulate you.
How lovely!
Yeah,
how lovely. And it's been nice. And I understand this. People, not everyone needs to be nice. People can have their own opinions, and they can be nasty if they want to.
Yeah.
Totally fine. Or you can just say you don't like it. But
that's the internet, though, isn't it? I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. You could do the best job and someone will shit on you. So, you can throw those people to one side, because I mean, the reaction to the 16 stuff has been immense,
Yeah, and I'm so happy for it, and it makes me even more excited to, closer to launch or when the game comes out, speak to people about it, and I just can't wait to meet people who enjoy it, because I feel the same. These games mean so much to me, and I'm just a fan of these games, so I can't wait to play it.
And you said you watched a lot of reactions to the trailers, and it must be. I mean, there is just a huge buzz, and because we know a bit now, but there's still a lot that we don't know, of course. So there's a lot of conspiracies and a lot of theory talk, and Reddit right now is an intense place where they'll take one screenshot and they'll tear it down and think that they've worked out the Bible code. So it's there's certainly a lot going on. But look, as I said, we can't talk about the game, but I just want to say on behalf of myself and obviously the Kupo community and just the Final Fantasy community as a whole, the excitement is through the roof. The largest congratulations to you for bagging this. I think that the voice acting that I've heard so far is perfection. I couldn't fault it. I really couldn't. I think everything about it is absolutely superb, and I think it's going to blow up in all the good ways that it can. So
I hope people enjoy it. I think they will. I think it's quite good.
Yeah.
But
You're slightly
yeah,
biased, but I believe you.
I know I could say it's good, but people would just say, well, he's paid to say that. But yeah, no, I get it. I get it. I'm really looking forward to it coming out and to being able to engage with the community a little bit more. At the moment, I'm just kind of stepping.
No, I totally get it. And, I'm thankful that you took the time to chat with me today, especially on such a, unique occasion where we're celebrating 35 years of the series. And it does make me feel quite old to know that I've basically existed since the beginning. But there we go.
But it's nice to know that Final Fantasy is technically older than you. So
only just. Yeah. I do forget how old I am quite often, though. I don't know if you have that issue.
It would be the annoying older brother. It would be the one that kind of just like picks on you a little bit. Yeah.
I haven't been picked on by Final Fantasy yet. Not yet. The lawyers have been kind.
I think it's been very good to you.
Yes, they have been. So anyway, look, folks, if you don't know, Final Fantasy XVI launches on June 22nd. We are planning an online cast of our own to celebrate the launch on Saturday, June 17th. And we are hosting we call it World Tour. We're doing our best to hit some major locations. So we're going to Vancouver, BC. We're going to New York City. And we're going to Birmingham, England in June, just before the release of Final Fantasy XVI. Ben, thank you. This has been fun. I'm excited. I'm sure we won't really get to speak much between now and then, but I assure you we will be talking much when the game drops.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.